Welcome back, everybody. My name's A Predator 54, aka Adam, coach of the Machesney Park Slowpokes, and today I bring you my pack Season 5 Wi-Fi Vision draft analysis. In this draft, we get 120 points to draft 9 to 11 Pokemon, and at the end, we can have up to 3 Terra Captains as long as they don't exceed 24 points. In this draft, Shedtail and Revival Blessing are banned. Last Respects is legal, so that is interesting. So, without further ado, this was funny because I have by far my least favorite spot to pick from. I was pick number 1 of the draft. I prefer being in the middle or towards the end. I hate first. This is my 3rd time this gen so far that I have gotten first, and I'm not the biggest fan. Without further ado, let's hop on in. Oh, and things 20 to 22 points cannot Terra. Anything 19 and below can. So we are going to hop in with pick number 1 of the draft. I got Chien-Pao. Its ability lowers the multiplies my opponent's base stat of their defense by 0.75, so it's technically almost a -1 drop built into defense. But with this thing's massive attack stat, access to Secret Sword that ignores defense changes, I believe. This gets access to Ice Shard, Crunch, Icicle Crash, Ice Spinner to remove Terrain. Gets access to quite a bit. Gets access to Snowscape, gets access to a plentiful amount of physical moves. I believe it gets Iron Head as well. I look forward to using this thing. This thing is incredibly fast. I believe it's 205 speed at level 50, which is about the same as Meowscarada. Probably a little better. It's either a little better or a little slower. But the fact that this thing hits so hard, there's not a viable switch in for it. Like, you switch in a resist, like a steel type, to get a resist a crunch, or a fighting type to resist the dark type move. This thing just goes through it. Icicle Crash, same thing. Because their defense is lowered, it's just going to do slightly more damage than a standard ice move would due to a resist or the dark move. This can crunch into fairy types too. Being times 4 weak to fighting, this is prone to Mach Punch, but that's limited in the game as well. It's also weak to Bullet Punch, but I was able to build around that fact, and I hopefully will not lose to it. Pick number 2, I ended up waiting, I believe it's either 32 or 33 picks to get back to me, and I took Screamtail. Okay, this gets I believe Protosynthesis. This thing is already 179 speed, and tanky is all hell. Gets access to Light Screen, Reflect, Wish, Baton Pass, Calm Mind, Nasty Plot, I hope it gets Iron Defense, I haven't checked. But the fact that this can set screens for Chien-Pao and also resist both stabs, resist the Mach Punch that goes into Chien-Pao, but does not resist the Bullet Punch. But the fact that this can set screens and just make my team tanky is phenomenal. Booster energy, boosted speed, and then it's able to just be a overall tank. I can also run Light Clay, get 8 turns of screens. This gets access to, I believe, Sunny Day, Rain Dance. I'm not sure about Sandstorm and Snowscape. I didn't look. But the fact that this thing can just fire off Psychic Dazzling Gleam for stab. Be times 4 resist to fighting is amazing. It's just going to chew. Screamtail looks like a lot of fun. Bulky. Lacks a little bit in offense, but if it's able to set up, it can just chew. And there's not very many dark types in this game that want to switch into this thing because they can easily just get bodied by Dazzling Gleam after a Calm Mind. So it's just like, okay, so what do you do? Turn my music down a little bit. There we go. Because that song got a little loud. And then I followed up with Glimmora. Why not get the best hazard setter in the game? Unfortunately, it doesn't get sticky webs, but toxic debris just switching in, setting those hazards on their side is absolutely amazing because this forces them to bring their poison type to remove the T-spikes. But this also gets spikes, rocks, Mortal Spin, which removes hazards as well as poisons my opponent, removes Leech Seed, Bind, and trapping effects on this mon, which is amazing. Being able to just spam that is good. This even gets access to Corrosion. This mon gets Toxic. Say I know they have a bulky steel type. Well, I can click Toxic and directly poison that steel type. Now it's not as big of an issue. Being able to poison a Scizor is amazing, but at the cost of taking a massive, hefty hit. This thing's well worth the 16 points, and hey, might as well draft it for I believe it's either the 3rd or 4th time this gen. And then it came back to me again after waiting a really long time. I got Gyarados. Why not have an Intimidate mon that also resists the Bullet Punch and the Mach Punch that wants to threaten Chien-Pao? This also gets access to Moxie and Dragon Dance, gets access to Hurricane, Thunder, Hydro Pump, Flamethrower, Fire Blast. Could be special if I need it to be. But also with the Dragon Dance gets Earthquake, Waterfall, Terra Blast, Rock Slide, I believe. But yeah, just being able to potentially be able to remove my times 4 weak to electric is amazing. And being able to Dragon Dance on top of that is phenomenal. Terra has completely changed the game for Gyarados. In Gen 8, very rarely did it get drafted because of that times 4 electric weakness. But now with the new mechanic, it is viable. That is, if you choose to have it as a Terra Captain. And then it got for my second pick, I got Ceruledge. Okay, let's get that normal immunity and fighting immunity and fire immunity with Flash Fire. This also gets weak armor, so it can absorb a hit, have Sword Stance go off, gets access to Bitter Blade, which is Fire Drain Punch. That hits so hard. This gets access to Solar Blade, Close Combat, Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw, Psycho Cut. I believe, what is it? I'm drawing a blank on the move. I believe it gets Zen Headbutt as well and Iron Head. But the fact that this thing gets Close Combat, alright. That's amazing. My opponent doesn't have Sucker Punch or Shadow Sneak to put this down, and it's already got a weak armor boost. This thing on its own is just going to hammer teams. It's got the coverage it needs to bypass a lot of things. I look forward to finally using this. This is one of my first shinies of the game. So, it's going to be fun. And then we get to round 6. Mudsdale! Known like a fat horse that gets a boost every time it's hit with body press. Access to stealth rocks, access to roar, access to earthquake, heavy slam for fairies, stone edge, smackdown to ground flying types, and force them to switch out. Otherwise, they get smacked by EQ. This answers Corviknight, which is funny. But if they Iron Defense, the Earthquake's not doing jack shit, though. But Mudsdale is a phenomenal Pokemon. Being able to just come in, physical threat, whack into me, this even gets access to Sleep Talk. Granted, I wish it still had Rock Polish so you can do the max speed set and be able to just, like, boost with the weakness policy. You can't do that anymore. But you can Assault Vest this thing and be a terrifying mess. For 9 points, it definitely lived up to the value. It was the best ground type that was left. Like, there were people that took a ground type round 2. Like, the best ones, like Garchomp and everything else went. And then it comes back to me again. Well, since I'm Wheel, I get to pick again. I take Kamala. Might as well get a bulky normal type with Rapid Spin that can't be poisoned by T-Spikes. Because of Comatose, it can only exist in a state of sleep. This gets access to Rapid Spin, access to Wood Hammer, Body Slam, I believe it lost Last Resort, but it was either Last Resort it lost, or it lost Sleep Talk. Sleep Talk used to be able to do Scarf or Bandit, and it'll select one of your 3 physical moves. This also gets access to U-Turn now. So it can Wish and U-Turn out, be very bulky, and then pass healing on to my team. Because it's a slow U-Turn, the mon I switch into comes in for free, gets the health. That is very good. That, and with my fighting resist, amazing. Being able to give health back to Gyarados, give health back to Screamtail, give health back to Mudsdale is absolutely amazing, and I just want to see if it'll work. And now we get into where it gets starting to get a little bit low on points, and we just start doing stuff. It passed to me at like 1, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning for like a couple of these last picks, and I honestly was like, at one point I was like, I need a dark type still. This is why it doesn't pass to you at like 1, 2 in the morning when you're half asleep. Because I take Zoroark. But it's not too bad. I can disguise it as Moxie Gyarados, as Mudsdale, as Ceruledge, as Kamala, as Screamtail, as long as I don't run Booster Energy, and just fire off a Flamethrower and catch a Steel type that wants to come in and hammer Screamtail. That is very good. This gets access to Flamethrower, Night Daze, access to knock off Sucker Punch, Swords Dance, Nasty Plot, Grass Knot, Shadow Ball, Shadow Claw. It can just freely set up and just hammer. And with its speed tier being incredibly fast, I believe it's the same speed as Screamtail, like 179. That is very good. Just being able to surprise my opponent, pick off a kill, if it is the correct kill, it is massive for the game. Because if I kill something that answers something I have here, then that's one less thing I have to worry about. Say I pick off, like, maybe, for example, I'm Terra Ground Gyarados because I want to be weak to, immune to electric. I'm able to Dragon Dance now because I got rid of the grass, the fire, the ice, or the water type that wants to hammer Gyarados. That's pretty good. And then for the wrap up of that, I took Masquerain for Sticky Webs. I have 2 forms of Intimidate on this team. This gets Quiver Dance on itself. I believe also, I'd have to double check, but I can't remember if it lost Defog, but I know it still has Tailwind to make my team incredibly fast. Quiver Dance, Air Slash, Hurricane, Ice Beam, Surf, Hydro Pump, gets access to Chilling Water now, Bug Buzz, Struggle Bug, can just be overly annoying. If it's able to come in, set up on its own and start doing some damage and get up at the same time, it's done its job. Granted, there's going to be weeks where its only job is webs because it is times 4 weak to rocks. If I don't run heavy duty boots, this thing just comes in, takes 50%, and just dies, doesn't chew a hit. It's bulkier than people think it is, and it can get that Quiver Dance off, but then it is susceptible to priority moves after that, just nuking it. But all in all, Masquerain is fun. I've had a lot of success with it in the past. And then we come back to my final 2 picks of the draft. I was like, you know what? Let's iron out my weaknesses. I got Appleton. Thick Fat is beautiful. And a times 4 resist to electric. I take very little from fire moves, which protects Masquerain, Chin Pao. This also gets Ripen, which if you use a berry, like say Roselli Berry against a fairy, and then they Moonblast, well, now you're taking a quarter damage. And if it's a fast fairy, this thing gets Gyro Ball, and you can run like absolutely lowest speed you can, and that Gyro Ball will one-shot the fairy back, which is amazing. This also gets access to Recycle. Still, granted, this one doesn't get Dragon Dance like Flapple does, but this thing is fat. Thick Fat, Gluttony, and Ripen are such good abilities, but it's mainly going to be here for Thick Fat, being a fat wall. Come in, fire off a Draco, fire off a Apple Acid to lower their SPDF, allowing something like Scream Tail to come in and just go burr. It hits harder than you think it does, even though you run a lot of bulk. And then we took Thoros Combat. Let's have a third Intimidator. Why not? Gets Cudchew, gets Anger Point. I mean, I gotta get Crit to have +6 attack, but this also gets Bulk Up, Body Press, Pure Fighting. It's base 100 speed, which is like 167 max, which isn't bad for a speed tier. Gets Raging Bull, which shattered screens. Unfortunately, with this one, it's pure fighting when it shatters the screens. So it's just like a 5% stronger Brick, which still is good. But this being able to force my opponent to swap out of their physical attacker if they're not clear aiming it is very good. And I also can run a Citrus Berry Bulk Up set. It'll go off, and then the following turn afterwards, after I've bulked up again or I've attacked, now I get the Citrus Berry again, which heals me back, which isn't bad. But all in all, this is the team I drafted. But now, without further ado, let's introduce the Terra Captains. I decided to have fun with Gyarados, Masquerain, and Granny Smith. The beautiful, beautiful Appleton. Might as well take away all those weaknesses. Have a thick, fat tank. Just be like, hey, let's play. Being able to take away my weaknesses to the priority being a Terra Captain on the Masquerain is very good as well. And being able to Dragon Dance more freely with Gyarados is absolutely phenomenal. I hope you guys enjoy the team. Next content after this will be my week 1 against Aaron 12, coach of the Roman Empoleons, and normally he absolutely smashes me. I haven't been able to do better than losing 4-0 against the guy. And it's, yeah. This time around though, I have my actual own drafted team. I'm not using a replacement team like I did in last season of Pack. But if you like the team, leave a comment below. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And you guys enjoy your day. Peace.